Carol Burnett and Linda Lavin have joined forces on Broadway to bring a warm and touching true story to the stage. The play is called Hollywood Arms, and it's a family affair in more ways than one. Not only does it chronicle 3 generations of Carol's family. Carol wrote this with her late daughter, Carrie Hamilton, who was on this program as well. We loved them. And while Carol stays behind the scenes, Linda is on stage stealing scenes as Nanny, Carol's grandmother. So please welcome Carol Burnett and her grandmother, Linda Lavin. So I have to tell you that I saw the play in Chicago because Carol and I did a big interview when it was playing with great success in Chicago, and now it's coming to Broadway. And one of the things that we mentioned there was that you went back in the course of writing this. You and Carol used to fax each other pages.
Yes, she would write in, she had a hideaway where she liked to write in Colorado, and I was in Los Angeles.
Los Angeles. And then towards the end, you went back to the one-room apartment with the bed that came out of the wall where you and Nanny lived. And I remember going there with you years ago.
Yeah.
What was it like now to go back and start working in that place?
Well, I didn't do that much work there, but it was very weird. The room was empty, and there was a young man who bought the building, and he's trying to restore the building to what it was when it was first built in the 20s. And so that particular room, which is 12 by 16, is called Apartment 102. And it was pretty seedy and everything, but he has fixed it up. It's a rather cute little studio apartment now, but I just had to rent it for just temporarily, so that every once in a while I'd go in, I'd take my laptop, got some furniture out of storage, and I would sit there and just see what ghosts might come out, you know, and all. And I'd always dreamed of fixing it up. I'd had a recurring dream for years about fixing it up for my family and stuff, and here it was fixed up. And so now I don't have that dream anymore.
Well, what an incredible play. I mean, this covers, as Barbara said, 3 generations, you, your mom, and your grandmother, Nanny. And Linda, you play Nanny.
I do.
What was it like to prepare for that role, the person that was so important in Carol's life? Did she do impersonations of Nanny for you? Or?
Linda doesn't work like that. No, the character is in the writing, in what Carol and Carrie wrote. And then, because she came from Arkansas, I listened to tapes of people from that part of the country. And then I listened to Carol read her own autobiography. So during rehearsals, so that, did you know I did that? I used to go home and listen to the tape, and so I could hear you talk about her. And, you know, this woman is so beloved, and we know her so well. And we remember this, and then I remembered that when I was offered the part, pulling the ear, that was for Nanny. These are stories we knew about Carol, you know, and then to have the opportunity to play this woman who meant everything, who was the bulwark, who gave her her center, who gave her her verve. Nanny was somebody who was all about economic necessity and survival, and something that women have always known about. And then this is the woman who came out of that. So when you're playing somebody who means that much to the person who wrote the play and who was that much in her life, you feel a tremendous sense of responsibility.
Well, Carol, tell us a little bit about your real-life grandmother, because I know you spent most of your childhood with her. She was on welfare most of her life. Yeah. And she had some funny ways of making ends meet, I hear.
Oh, yeah, well, actually, they were quite ingenious. One, we had a bookie joint for a little while in the room, and these guys paid us to put some extra phones in and take down bets, and that's in the play, yeah. And the cops burst in, and of course that was the end of that one. But then I was about 8 or 9 when that happened.
And taking phone calls as well, right?
Taking phone calls, yeah. Ragged Rascal and the Fourth. And then, whenever we'd go to the movies, which we did quite often, we'd always go to beat the prices. In other words, get in early enough, you know, when it was cheap. It was a quarter for her and 11 cents for me or something like that. And we would, before we would leave, Nanny had a big Mary Poppins bag. We'd hit every stall and steal the toilet paper.
That's a necessity. That's real necessity.
And then if we go to Thrifty's to get a soda or something, and nobody was looking, in would go knives and forks and spoons and the extra crackers and salt and pepper shakers, and she would just jiggle on the way out.
Did you feel scared when that would happen, or did you feel
Oh,
okay?
I knew as long as I was with her, she'd be able to con her way
She'd
out of
pull it
anything.
out.
Yeah, absolutely. She was an amazing character, yeah.
Interesting, and your whole childhood is so interesting. And I was wondering, Linda, what was it about Nanny that was the most interesting to you?
The capacity for humor in the face of poverty, in the face of difficulty, in the face of alcoholism. And Nanny was married 6 times, Carol told me one day in rehearsal, or I guess I learned it in your memoirs. And so, you know, she, like the women out of the Jane Austen novels, had to keep marrying, as did many women in the beginning of this century and even now, for financial gain, for means at all. And so that was interesting to know that she was sexy and flirtatious and somebody who was full of great humor. The thing about this play is it is a drama with comedy and music, and we sing together, we burst into song and harmonize together. So all that you know about Carol, that she's shared with us, her generosity in sharing her life story, is what really empowers me in playing her Nanny.
You know, Carol, thinking about your grandmother as a flirtatious woman, I understand she liked her men and she liked them young.
Well,
Way to go, Nanny.
her first husband was a lot older, and then as she got older, they got younger. You know. And when she died, she was 81 years old, and she had a 40-year-old boyfriend who was a jazz musician in Redondo Beach, California.
You know, we can't have you here without talking also about Carrie, because we remember when Carrie was on with us, when the two of you were
We were
writing.
just starting to
You were
write.
just starting, and I remember
this.
she came out in such a get-up. You know, and I think the play opens this Thursday, October 31st, Halloween night.
Carrie would have loved the fact that we're opening on Halloween because of the way she always dressed. I mean, she was always in some kind of costume, and I would never know what she would be doing with her hair from one week to another. When she was on here, when we were on together, I think she had the dreadlocks.
Yeah.
Yeah, she had dreadlocks.
But they were different colors.
Yeah.
She looked like Pippi Longstockings on acid or something. It was very,
She was a wonderful
She got the
talent.
comedy gene.
Yeah. And I know you always believed in signs, so maybe it's a sign
Yeah.
that it's opening October 31st.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
we have seen it, we have loved it, and
you.
now if you're going to be in New York, you'll be able to see it. It opens this Thursday. It's called Hollywood Arms, and it opens at the Court Theater, and it stars the wonderful Linda Lavin. You and I have known each other since childhood. I think I was telling George, and as well. I love you both, and I thank you for being on with us today. We're going to be hearing a little bit of this music from this show later on in our show. We'll be right back. Okay, we have a treat for you coming up, but let me tell you about tomorrow. First, tomorrow in the View, Bonnie Hunt, the designer Christopher Lowell, who'll show you some amazing room makeovers, and you can find out what to do if your kids think they're fat on Meredith's guilt trip. So we want you to enjoy the View. But before you enjoy the View, I have Carol, Burnett, and Linda Lavin, and they're back to help welcome 2 of the actresses who portray Carol in the new play that opens this week, Hollywood Arms. Donna Lynn Champlin is the older Carol, and Sarah Niemitz, who plays the younger Carol, and they're here to sing, as they do in the show, the song, I'm Always Chasing Rainbows. What a treat for us.
I'm always chasing rainbows must make a winning sometime. I never even make a gain. Believe me, I'm always chasing rainbows, waiting to find a little bluebird, hoping to find a little bluebird, needing to find a little bluebird.